I do believe Rob is ready now with Rick Miles, so let's head back out to the center stage where Rob is there. Hi, Rob.
Hey, how you doing? So glad to hear you on the in the studio. Got Rick Miles here, and Rick, I wanted to actually tell you as you were coming off stage, I really enjoy your presentation style. You just have a relaxed manner that's confident and helping me understand things in a bit more depth. And with that, I wanted to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind. First one is around just, because I think firewalling becomes almost a term that helps you and hurts you in this situation, but we need to be thinking about firewalling differently in this context and in the reality of what we're seeing here. How do you help people do that?
Yeah, absolutely, and I appreciate the kind words. Thank you for that. It's you can think about it like firewall as a noun becoming firewalling as a verb, where in the future, yes, you still have these trust boundaries, and those trust boundaries need to be able to scale based on the demand, and you have new AI applications, the stopping threats preemptively as possible is still very important, so things like our 6100 that can scale up to the 8 terabits are important, but really you've got to start shining the flashlight into the dark areas that you can't see, into that east-west traffic as well. So the firewall alone becomes firewalling because it's not just the agentless boxes that can scale, it becomes the agents, it becomes the workloads, the applications, the processes, all working together for an intelligent solution architecture.
And do you feel like this kind of architecture is starting to get to the point where we can actually ingest more data to make better decisions than we could before, because the disaggregation almost does provide a little bit more agility in that sense, does it not?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the data that you can start to ingest to simplify operations. Yes, and even in mixed vendor environments, which I talked about, there's a lot of value there. It's the data that you can use to intelligently create policies. If I really can see the behavior of the applications, the trusted communications, I can start to even achieve a better state of microsegmentation across my firewalling real estate. And then finally, with that data, you can detect new threats, right? That becomes a corpus of information for a detection layer, because at the end of the day, we got to prevent threats. That's what the team's about.
Well, so you talked about enforcement points, and I love the fact that we can enforce things much deeper. We're not having to route everything through and then make a decision and all the hassle that comes with that type of layout. But how do enforcement points need to evolve? We've got them in the switches and we're starting to layer them in so they become part of the network infrastructure, but I imagine that's going to change as we learn more?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that era of the refrigerator 16RU, pair of firewalls that sit there, I think that era is gone. So the two key things I'd highlight is our 6100 at 2RU with 630 gigs of inspection that can scale as your demands scale. So you could cluster 2, 3 of them as needed, but also why you can start to do that is you can embed security as a feature of your network. You can start to push that down into the smart switch itself. You can think of every switch port being a high throughput firewall that's added to your overall security strategy. So that's how those enforcement points start to change from the infra, and then the distributed nature of the agents as well. It all works together in concert.
Well, I love the fact that, I don't know if it was you or your peer that was on the stage talking to the network folks and saying, does this mean you're going to have to turn over certain runtime access and gear that you've normally kept siloed? Because you guys are breaking a lot of silos with this type of architecture, but you had good answers for this, and it kind of gets into how do we not get overwhelmed in the operational parts of making all this work together? Because it can feel big, but yet we are simplifying, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the important piece there is our development is very persona driven as well. So you're a NetOps individual, you're going to have that in Nexus dashboard. There's no impact to your normal day-to-day operations, but what we're doing is we're enabling the security team through access of that data processing unit, through the firewalling that we're building on the switch, to work in that same experience that they're comfortable with, that security cloud control experience across their firewalling. Now we're further simplifying it with things like agentic ops and the level of automation and really task completion that those agents can start to bring to your teams. From firewall troubleshooting to discovery of policy, taking you on a zero trust journey. You got a whole team of agents that are starting to simplify your world too.
About 30 seconds left, but I'm curious, you had mentioned at the close some places where you were going to be demonstrating some of the additional things that you talked about, beyond even just hybrid mesh and some of the other capabilities. Quick shout out to what you're doing next?
Yeah, quick shout out. So if you're around 3:45 p.m., Elysium Ballroom 2, we'll be going through all of the latest security innovation there. I'll also be giving a demo of security cloud control, what we're doing with Mesh Policy Engine, so would love to see everybody there.
That is awesome. Rick, thank you so much.